channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about kind of like the books I have on my fall TBR or just on my radar generally for like October and November reading. Lots of cozy vibes, lots of spooks. I have some romance, some fantasy, horror, thriller, mystery. I feel like the two genres I don't normally pick up that I want to are like horror and mystery specifically. Thriller, I've only read like I think like 4 thrillers. It's another genre that I want to get into. I'm mainly romance and mainly fantasy. Like fantasy is my ride or die genre for sure. Obviously, I'm not going to get to all of these. The list is ambitious, okay? I also have these organized into genre, or like the best of my knowledge, the genre. But yeah, let's get started because there's like about 30. So, and hopefully you get some ideas of what you could possibly read this season as well. So the first 3 books I have are actually not in my possession. I think some might be, at least one of them I think is on Kindle Unlimited, but the other 2 are ones that I've heard a lot about or I've seen in the store that caught my eye. The first book on this list is Lights Out. I have been seeing this literally everywhere. I've seen so many videos on it, and I have FOMO. I want to read it. It looks like a good time, basically. I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm gonna go in kind of blind. I just know I think it's about a stalker. I think it's a dark romance stalker vibe, which I'm here for. The second one is another one I've seen literally everywhere, which is Phantasma. I know that it's kind of gothic. I think it's a romance, and yeah. This is the one I think that it's on Kindle Unlimited. The third one that I don't have is one that I saw at the store the other day, and it caught my eye. It's called The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's basically The Nightmare Before Christmas, but I think the one guy is like the son of Santa, and then the other guy is the Prince of Halloween or something like that, and I'm just like, sign me up. I love The Nightmare Before Christmas, and I tend to watch that in November as kind of like a transition time into Christmas time, so I really want to pick that book up. The next section is anticipated releases. I only have 3 on this list so far that are coming out in the next few weeks. The first one is, of course, the next in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, I think it's called, which is Lost and Lassoed. I love these. I'm really excited for this couple specifically. The next one actually comes out just before Christmas. Just before Halloween. And it's been one that me and many others have been anticipating, and I'm so excited to finish this series. It's The Syndicator. I feel like I'm gonna go on like an emotional journey with this last book. It's a dark romance. It's the Dark Verse series, if you've heard of it, by Runix. I don't know what it was about this series, but it hooked me, especially book 3 is my favorite so far. And then the last one in the anticipated releases for me is the next book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series by Carissa Broadbent, which is The Songbird and the Heart of Stone. That one comes out, I think, like mid-November. Now let's get into the actual physical books I have on my shelves that I want to get to. So for romance, the first one I bought last fall with my mom, which is The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. I've seen this a lot. I've heard mixed reviews about it, but I tend to try my very best to go into books with no biases, and it just looks cozy. It also says it's like for fans of Practical Magic and Gilmore Girls, which, if you know me, you know that that's definitely my cup of tea. No pun intended. This next one, at the time that it came out, I did not have the money to like go pick up the book, but my fiance loves me so much, and he got me Daydream by Hannah Grace. Another series that has like critiques from, because I think everybody got scared from Icebreaker. I liked Icebreaker. It wasn't my favorite. So far I've liked Wildfire the most. I think I liked the themes in it a little bit more. But Henry, I have been anxiously awaiting his book. I'm just so excited to read this one. It doesn't really speak fall to me, but I want to read it sooner than later, so it's on this list. The third romance I have is The 7-Year Slip. I don't even know if this is set in the fall. It really gives like September, early October to me. I know that this one kind of has like some like time travel, magic realism vibes to it, which I think that's really exciting. Okay, the next one I have on my list is Go Hex Yourself. I love a punny title. I've had this one for a few months, I think, maybe even about a year. Honestly, who knows? The next one I have on my list is You Again, which, look at this cover. It's so pretty. This is definitely giving When Harry Met Sally. I think that that's the common comp to this. It's definitely giving Grumpy versus Grumpy, I'm pretty sure. The last one I have on the romance section of this list is one that I've actually already read, so it would be a reread. It's the book that started it all for me. It's like a long story, but basically I had about 7 or 8 years of not reading in like my early adulthood, and I decided to pick up this book, and the rest is history. And it's Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. I think it would be really fun to read this on Devil's Night. I think that that is probably something that I want to try to do. Let's do fantasy. The first one I have is actually a sequel. It's Apprentice to the Villain, which is book 2. Book 1 was Assistant to the Villain. I love this book. It's not everybody's cup of tea, I know that. I love that it doesn't take itself seriously. I love that it's basically just a fantasy rom-com. And if you want to giggle and like kick your feet, I recommend this series. But I have not read book 2, and it's been out for like a month or 2 now. I'm really excited. Next up is The Phoenix Keeper. This one has caught my eye several times over in the store. Gorgeous cover. Holy smokes, that's probably what caught my eye in the beginning. I actually had no idea that it was sapphic when I first picked it up, but I'm very happy it's in my possession now. Okay, so the next book I have on my list is actually one I tried to read last year. I got 28 pages in, and I just wasn't feeling it at the time because I think I wanted a different genre, but it's God Killer, and this is probably my favorite book cover. Like, for real. Just sounds cool. I love a good adventure. Next up, we have one that I picked up last winter that had been catching my eye in the store for quite some time. Oh, I have a bookmark in here. It's ready to go to be read, you know? This is called The Witches of Bone Hill. It's giving historical fantasy to me, but I also think it's modern because it's talking about like a tattooed groundskeeper and stuff. So it could go either way for me. The next book is one that I haven't heard anything about. However, it did catch my eye. It's called The Hexologists. To me, this one reminded me of The Mummy, but also kind of supernatural, like the TV show. The next one I have on my list is actually a prequel to one of my favorite books that I've read. It is Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. I think if you like that cozy, kind of like a little bit lower stakes, and especially if you're a D&D fan or a Vox Machina fan, read these. And I'm obsessed with the cover art for both of these books. Like, they're just so cute. And in the same vein as kind of like Legends and Lattes, another book that I just recently picked up is Can't Spell Treason Without Tea. Kind of gives me that like sapphic, cozy vibe as well. This is one you have to make tea for. You just have to read it with a cup of tea. The last like fantasy-ish one that kind of like goes into horror territory, I guess, but like YA horror, is House of Hollow. This one has been on my list for probably 2 years. It's been sitting on the shelf collecting dust, and I really want to get to it because I love this cover. That's not the only reason, but it's a pretty good reason in my books. No pun intended. Now we're going into more spooky territory. We've got some mystery, some horror, and some thriller. First up, we have Thursday Murder Club. This one I've heard an insane amount of things about. I feel like every person and their mother has read this book. I just think this is cute. It also reminds me of my mom. So, it's also why I want to read it. Speaking of moms, here's my segue. The next one I have is another mystery. It is Mother-Daughter Murder Night. Also one that I picked up because it reminded me of me and my mom, because we are true crime junkies. So it's definitely giving amateur sleuths, but also drama. Now we're kind of embarking on the horror section. So we've got House of Hunger. I'm really excited to read this one. Marion is thrust into a vicious game of cat and mouse. She'll need to learn the rules of her new home and fast, or its halls will soon become her grave. Next up, I have a YA that kind of just breaks up the brain power needed to get through all of these books, and it is Clown in a Cornfield. It's definitely giving like slasher film or like haunted house vibes. I don't know, this one sounds like I need some popcorn while I read it or something. Like, I just think it's gonna be kind of funny. I will preface the next book with, if you know me, you know how obsessed with Red Dead Redemption 2 that I am. And this book screams that for me, which is Red Rabbit. It's probably the one I'm the most excited to read in the horror section. Red Rabbit is an epic horror folktale about a ragtag posse that must track down a witch through a wild west beset by demons and ghosts, where death is always just around the bend. Doesn't that sound good? It sounds so good. Next up, I do think that some people consider this a classic, which is The Haunting of Hill House. First of all, how terrifying is that cover? Next up is, I feel like I say this a lot, but it's honestly one of my favorite covers. Favorite books, like just visually. It's stunning. Slewfoot by Brom. It also has pictures in the book, which like, spoilers, but like how spooky, okay? I'm kind of intimidated by this book, to be honest, because I feel like it's going to be, I think the prose in this is going to be amazing. That's my prediction. I have no idea if it actually is, but. And then lastly, we have 2 thrillers on this list. So we have Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I wanted to put a Riley Sager book on this list because I feel like he's one that people normally grab for thrillers. I also have The Only One Left. I think people tend to suggest this one as like a starter into Riley Sager, or maybe Final Girls or something like that, I've heard. But I'm really excited to start this one. My camera is going to die. I hope I can get this through. So the last thriller I have on my list is 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. I think it's kind of similar to like Clown on a Cornfield, like because there's like a group of students and there's mystery to it as well. I feel like this will be like a really easy YA thriller to get through. And that's it. That's all the books I have kind of for like the next 2 months or so. It's ambitious. I'm aware it's very ambitious. And I'll be lucky if I get like even a quarter done, honestly. But these are the ones that I have on my radar. These are the ones that give me fall vibes, ones that I've been meaning to get to for a very long time. I hope you found some recommendations, some ideas maybe for your list. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!